Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Sunday and this is a very special Sunday because this is Christmas Day. So Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you so much to those who've supported me throughout this year, whether that be through becoming a member, whether it be through giving me super chats in lives. But more importantly than any of that, it's just watching my videos. Watching my videos, commenting, liking, sharing my videos with people in your social circle. That works wonders in getting my videos out there. So thank you to you all. Have a great day, whatever you do, wherever you are in the world. I hope this Christmas Day finds you and yours well. And I give my best wishes from me and my family to you and yours. Okay, so I'm going to continue the content on the Idaho 4 murders. It's not a very Christmassy topic, but you know what? Evil never sleeps, evil never rests, and we've got to be on it. Who is the killer of the Idaho 4 students? Ethan, Xana, Kaylee and Maddie. Who had the capacity, psychologically speaking, who had the capacity to do this? Physically, this person has to be strong, has to have the physical strength to overpower 4 people in quick succession. And to kill using a knife, there's some skill involved in that. But I'm interested in this person's psychology. And early on in the case, I did a profile, which I stand by. I haven't seen any information out there that would change my views on these 10 points, except perhaps number 10, lone wolf. I am open to the possibility that there was more than one person involved. I think only one person did the killings, but there might be other people involved in, say, planning, even being there. I don't know. I've got a big question mark about that. But what I am sure about is this person's personality traits. The personality traits of narcissism and Machiavellianism are the two that I particularly want to focus on in this video. And for those of you who know a little bit about psychology, and I know some of you do, then you'll understand that Machiavellianism and narcissism are 2 of the 3 traits that make up the Dark Triad. So let's talk about the Dark Triad in this video. I really believe that this describes the killer of the Idaho 4 students. And if you are living with a person who fits these traits, even loosely, and they could have been in Moscow on November 12th into November 13th, look very closely at yourself. Do you have an inkling that the person that you're living with or the person that you're close to could have done this? If so, call the cops. So let's look at some research into the Dark Triad. The term the Dark Triad was coined in 2002 by 2 psychologists, Paulus and Williams. And they wanted to describe a set of personality traits that when combined within the same individual, it makes up the closest way that psychologists can define evil. Somebody who measures high in the Dark Triad traits fits most closely to the ancient concept of evil. And it's made up of 3 clusters of personality traits. Machiavellianism, which is the desire for power. It's the desire to socially manipulate, to be calculated, and to be dominated by self-interest. Narcissism, which is probably much better known set of personality traits than Machiavellianism, is characterised by being grandiose, entitled. They have a perceived superiority over other people. They believe that their own interests are more important than anybody else's. And then we've got psychopathy. Now, while I believe that our killer will measure high in Machiavellianism and narcissism, I'm not so sure about psychopathy. Simply because one of the traits of psychopathy is impulsivity. impulsiveness. And I don't think our killer demonstrates impulsivity whatsoever. I think this was a very cold, calculated, very planned. I think that night was chosen specifically. That house was chosen specifically. There's a very good reason why those murders happened on that night in that house. I think this was very planned, in my opinion. However, I think there will be traits of psychopathy there in our killer. So I don't believe that this person feels shame for what they did. I don't believe this person regrets what they did. I think they feel entitled to do what they did, to have that power and continue to have that power, to continue to enjoy the coverage that this case is generating. I think this person is watching lives, watching YouTube, watching social media, and I think this person is enjoying it. They're emotionally cold and they lack empathy. So they do have some traits of psychopathy. I'm not sure that we consider them to measure really high on psychopathy simply because they lack some of those key traits. But overall, I think our person would measure high on the Dark Triad, dominated by Machiavellianism, narcissism, and some traits of psychopathy. At clinical levels, psychopathy, though, is the best predictor of violent crime. So people who measure high in psychopathy account for a disproportionate amount of violent criminals. Studies dating back to the 1980s have shown that psychopaths represent 15 to 30% of the prison population, but commit up to 50% of violent crimes. Does that mean that our killer has a criminal past? Yes and no. I'm not sure that this person has been caught before. I'm not sure that this person has a criminal record. But I do believe they may have committed lower level crimes and just not been caught. I also believe that our killer has killed before. That's most probably non-human animals. We know that people who measure high on the Dark Triad traits are more likely to commit acts of animal cruelty. They lack the empathy to be able to look at a non-human animal and feel compassion for that animal. If they feel the need to, more likely to kill that animal and feel no remorse whatsoever. They're just emotionally cold and they feel entitled to do it. Whether that's hunting animals, if they like hunting, they feel entitled that they can go about and kill whoever or whatever they want. In terms of that moral upstep from killing non-human animals to killing humans, I don't think it's too much of a reach for our killer. For whatever reason this person chose to kill Ethan, Xana, Maddie and Kaylee, they felt entitled to do so. They felt justified in doing so. So feel no remorse, no empathy. If they did this out of hate, then that entitlement, that justification for doing it will be all the more strong. There's good grounds for claiming that people who measure high on the Dark Triad traits, for them to be associated with significant deliberate harm to others, meaning that this is the very definition of evil. It's as close to the concept, the ancient concept of evil, as psychologists can describe. We also know that the Dark Triad traits manifest themselves very early on in life. Lauer and Marcy, two psychologists who did a study in 2012, found that the distinctive behaviours that come from having these Dark Triad traits are already evident in juveniles aged 11 to 17. And Vernon and colleagues in 2011 showed that all three sets of traits, Machiavellianism, psychopathy and narcissism, have substantial genetic components. It's something that people are born with. However, they can be modified by experience. Studies have shown that Machiavellianism also has a shared environmental component. It's the one of the three sets of traits that is most likely to be modified by experience. But I think in terms of our killer, I think whatever has happened to this person in their life, I think the traits that make up this person, that make up the Dark Triad, have been evident from early on in this person's life. So if this person is a student and is still living with their parents, at least for part of the year, I think their parents are well aware that their child has had problems, and whether they can justify that, whether they feel that their child will grow out of it, no. People don't grow out of the Dark Triad traits. That's part of them, and it will influence their lives, their working life, their educational life, that need for power, the need for dominance, the self-entitlement, the remorselessness, could potentially serve them well. We know that CEOs of major companies are more likely to measure high on psychopathic traits than members of the general population are. But when we talk about interpersonal behaviour, when we talk about the capacity to commit crimes, then we really are looking at somebody who is a potentially dangerous individual. In direct comparisons in studies, it seems clear that those who measure highest on psychopathy are more likely than those who measure highest on Machiavellianism or narcissism to have found themselves within the criminal justice system early on in life. I think that relates to the impulsiveness that's one of the major traits of psychopathy. And that's why I wonder whether our killer has not made their way into the criminal justice system as of yet. They're unknown to the criminal justice system because they're not impulsive. They're not going to go out and commit a crime without having it very carefully planned. And if you've got a crime that's very carefully planned, you're less likely to get caught, aren't you? So I think our killer measures high in narcissism and Machiavellianism, but not so much in psychopathy. But I think this person, even if they've not made it into the criminal justice system, as I said, I think they have committed probably lower level crimes, acts of animal cruelty, and I think they are very much engrossed in deviant fantasies. Now that might be something that they've very easily been able to keep to themselves. If they've got very deviant, dark sexual fantasies, for example, their parents might not be aware of any of that. But other people might be. Other people in their lives might be. You see, where psychopaths are more likely to impulsively commit crimes and respond aggressively to physical threat, those who are in the Dark Triad kind of cluster but measure higher on narcissism and Machiavellianism, they're more able to control their emotions and not react aggressively without a good level of planning. Narcissism, for example, require ego threats to their ego, being spurned, threats to their sense of entitlement. So although this is a really negative and dangerous set of traits, those who measure lower on psychopathy but higher on narcissism and Machiavellianism, I think they are particularly dangerous because they're more cautious, but they're more deliberate in their behaviours. And I think that's what we've seen here. We've seen a very deliberate, callous way to murder, but done quickly. That killer has been able to get in and get out, has had the confidence, has had the brazenness to walk into someone's house whilst there are other people sleeping and kill 4 people. That is a very, very dangerous person. And this person, if they're not caught, I've said this numerous times now, if this person is not caught, they will do it again. They will do this again. Whether they're planning their next kill or whether it's something that they'll only feel the need to do when that level of hate is sufficient. I think they enjoyed it too much, and I think their personality is such that they are so dangerous. This person needs to be off the streets. Off the streets forever. So if you are at all suspicious about anybody in your life, please do not sit on this. Please do not try to protect them. Even if it's your own child, please do not try to protect them, or else you will have even more blood on your hands. Alright guys, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. I've been Michelle, and yes, I am a psychologist, for those of you who were asking. I hope you're well. I'll see you in the next video. It's goodbye from Miss Tillington and Miss Cassie Springer. Bye guys. Come on, this way. Cassie, this way. Good girl.